Welcome back into the Section YY8 podcast. Negative Niece and Harb coming to you here on Mother's Day, Sunday night. Well, we're recording on Mother's Day. This episode won't be out till probably early, middle of the week. I don't know yet. We're working on a few things for the show here, so we are recording this on Mother's Day. Let me start over. Happy Mother's Day if you're a mother listening to this show. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day on Sunday to my mom. We had some steaks, baked potatoes, some other stuff. Her favorite dessert is key lime pie, so we had that. How was Mama Harb's Mother's Day, Harbin?
It was good. I worked the majority of the day. That's the sacrifice you make when you work in the restaurant world. Mother's Day is our Super Bowl. Um, I got off and actually this morning on the way to work, I noticed some daisies on the side of the road. And being the good son that I am, I noticed that my mother loves daisies. And I was like, I can give me some brownie points later. So I took the same route home, picked some daisies off the side of the road,
Oh yeah.
took them over to her, and she enjoyed that a lot. And I got to hang out with her for a little bit, and now I'm here.
She's still waiting on that koozie, that YY8 koozie.
I'm gonna be honest with you. She didn't have very nice things to say about you.
About me?
Yeah, she was like,
Why me?
she's like, I hope niece really enjoys recording this podcast because he took Mother's Day evening away from us. So she
Oh
told me,
my God, that's
yeah,
ridiculous. At 9:30?
yeah, hell, I got over to her house at like 7:45.
Well, you should have said something. We wouldn't have recorded.
Hey, listen, man, there's a clear pecking order on this podcast, and it is what it is.
I heard
You know,
that. Well, Mama Harb, I'm sorry that we took, or oh, let's not say we. I took your son away from you on Mother's Day, but I do want to put out there that I did ask if he could or could not record tonight, and he said, "I'm in 9:30."
mm,
So just clear the air here.
all jokes,
Shout out to all the mamas out there.
all jokes. Happy Mother's Day to you and yours. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend.
How was your week, Harb? You were on the road this week.
I was on the road. Loyal friend and listener to the show, Jake Minot, had a golf tournament in Greensboro, North Carolina this week, and for some reason he wanted me to be on the bag for him. So I graciously accepted, and it turned out to be a really good week when it was all said and done. Really did.
What did he shoot? What did he shoot? Where did he finish? What course did he play? What was the tournament?
So it was a G Pro event, which is a mini tour, professional event. There were 90 guys in the field, and it's three day event. They cut 2/3 of the field after the first 2 days, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. So only the top 29 in ties made the cut out of 90 players. And there's a lot of really good golfers in this field. Um, but the first day he shot 73, and I want to say he was tied for 71st after the first round. Um, and I got to tell this in the order that it was, just because the roller coaster of emotions that it was. We knew that he had to shoot roughly 68 to make the cut, and he bogeyed 13 to go back to even on the day, went over for the tournament. Had to birdie four of his last five holes, and we pretty much were non-verbally thinking like, what time are we going to get home tonight? And long story short, I won't spare y'all with the theatrics, but by God, the boy did it. He birdied four of his last five to make the cut on the number. Birdied 14, 15, 16, and 18. Makes cut on number, and then shoots the tied low round for the whole week at 64 on Sunday. I mean on Friday, sorry. To go from tied for 29th to 8th place for the week. So he got his first professional top 10. I just want to give a big shout out to the boy. Incredible golf played. It was really special to see. Made my job easy for the last 23 holes of the tournament. That's for sure. I just got to be up close and personal for some really good golf. It was really fun.
Yeah, shout out Jake. I saw the score. I think either you sent it to me or he sent it to me. I can't remember which one, but yeah, that last round he fired really shot him up the leaderboard. So congrats, Jake. First top 10 of your career. Hopefully many more to come.
So Nice, he played his last 23 holes at 12 under par. Is
That
let me ask, is that any good?
that is something that I will personally never experience in my life. I can quite honestly say I've experienced 3 straight birdies. That's about as close as I've gotten. But yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was really special to see. Um, it was insane golf, just sicko mode, sicko.
So the Straw Plains Open is coming up. For those that don't know what that is, it's the annual golf trip. 16 of us go on it. Harbin is going on it for what is this? Your fourth, fifth time,
I
third?
think I counted them up with Hayes the other day. I think, believe it or not, I think this is my 7th year going.
That's probably about right because you went before Hayes. But I've spoken with the executive committee, which I'm a member of, and anyone who caddies for a player that shoots like that automatically gets their points bumped. Sorry, bud.
Well, no, I disagree. I think they need to get pumped in. I think they need to get pumped in the other direction because I was just carrying the bag. I didn't swing a club the whole time. I'm not getting any better.
But
Y'all,
you watched greatness.
you
You
watched
and
you watched the Wells Fargo this weekend. You got better watching it.
I didn't watch much of it. I watched a
Well,
little of it.
you watched a little. You watched a little.
I
So
watched enough to get better to improve
yeah,
my game.
that point that is null and void, in my opinion. I did hit 3 range balls the morning before the practice round, and which I was off a 5-hour car ride and had on Air Maxes, so I'm not used to my heels being that far off ground. After 3 swings, Jake said, "I don't need to see any more." And that was it. I putted a little bit. That was about it.
I will say, a listener of the show, Nick Bernard, gave me a tip around about chipping around the green, and been struggling with it, trying to tinker with my game a little bit, and hit the shot on went yesterday. Me and Kevin Griff went and played a late afternoon round at um, Island Point, formerly known as River Island Golf and Country Club, and it's in fantastic shape, by the way. But hit the little chip, rolled it up there to about 6 inches. It was like a light bulb went off. So shout out Nick Bernard, really
So
helping
you're
my.
back.
Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll see. I have
Sounds
been
like you need
playing.
sounds like you need your points bumped.
I've been playing. I'm getting my game rounded off. So we got one more practice round next weekend, um, before the trip here in a couple weeks, and we're gonna maybe try to put together a preview show sometime here in the next couple weeks of the Straw Plains Open Invitational Memorial Classic, whatever we're calling it these days. Coming up in a couple weeks, going down to northern Alabama, Raleigh Green Country.
You only YOLO once.
Yes. So we didn't record last week, and wanted to get one in. We're getting close to the end of the spring season, and there's a lot going on at UT. For those that haven't been keeping up, not just with softball and baseball, but golf, men's and women's tennis. Tennessee athletics is just, I don't want to say rolling because they've not won a national title, but it's pretty darn close. The way the entirety of the athletics department is performing right now. Just very quickly, I don't know much about tennis. I don't think you do either, but the men's and women's tennis teams both this weekend advanced to the Elite Eight. I'm not sure when that is. I guess I could have looked that up before we came on and started recording, but um, I think the men beat Florida State and the ladies beat Oklahoma State to advance to the Elite Eight. I guess it's sometime this week. I'll look that up before the end of the show. Golf is playing on Monday, so this episode probably won't be out till Tuesday or Wednesday because we're going to record another segment. And they are in the Austin regional, Austin, Texas. They are the number one seed in that regional. So we talked just briefly about them last time we were on here. They had just lost, kind of got upset in the SEC tournament in match play. And so I did not realize they were going to be that highly ranked. I knew they were going to be up there, but I didn't realize they were going to be a one seed. But probably one of the better teams in school history. And this is without Caleb Surratt, who left the program early to go to the Live Tour. And so this team's still pretty good, even without him. And they've got I say this all the time. I know people, especially one person, Josh Walker, who doesn't listen to the show, but he always gets on me because I consistently say, and I'll say it every time I believe it, this team's a legit national title contender. I say it all here all the time about a lot of our teams, but that's what's going on right now. I mean, look at baseball, softball, golf, men's and women's tennis. They're all legit national title contenders. This past season in basketball, the men, I felt like, were a legit national title contender. They didn't get to the Final Four, but they were one of the 8 to 10 teams that were in the conversation for it. So we talked about it a couple weeks ago, Harb, but this athletics department right now, I don't know what Danny White has done, if it even was him, if it's just our turn in the cycle here, but things are going pretty well on the hill right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's be honest. This is not anything that we didn't know. I mean, athletics have been on an upswing for the last 4 to 5 years. It is cool to see the sports that don't get a lot of love normally start to get some love. Which, I mean, like you said, I don't know anything about tennis, but as far as golf program goes, Tennessee golf was kind of a bottom feeder for a while when they had no business being it. Same as baseball. The SEC is a powerhouse, and there is a ton of good golfers in the state of Tennessee as far as high school talent goes. There's no reason Tennessee shouldn't be this good almost every year in golf. They finally made a coaching change and some other changes within the program, and they're finally where they should be. And they're even better than they were last year. And last year was one of the best teams they've had in a very long
Yeah.
time. So it's really cool to see. Also, shout out to the tennis team. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about it. I correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like at least the men are normally pretty good, though.
Yeah, they were in I think it was 3 seasons ago, maybe 2. They were in the Final Four,
Yeah.
the NCAA Final Four. So, yeah, they've, and the ladies team has been kind of on the upswing. I actually went and watched them. Was that last year? They played LSU, and it was supposed to be outdoors, but they moved it indoors because of weather. But Reagan's friend from Spartanburg played at LSU, and they were in town, so I went to watch them. But they were good. They dominated LSU that day. LSU wasn't very good last year, but yeah, men's and women's tennis, especially the men, they've been pretty good here lately. So it looks like the men will travel to Texas, or sorry, it's in Oklahoma. Oh, when is this? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure when they play, to be honest, Harbin. It says May 16th or April 19th. Are they going back in time? Um, Whenever they play Texas coming up here in the next few days, number 3, Texas. And the ladies play on Friday. They're also it's all in Oklahoma City, Stillwater. They are playing UCLA, number 8 seed. So the ladies knocked off number 1 Oklahoma State, by the way, to advance to the Elite Eight. So it's not like they haven't faced the best to get where they are. So, number 8 UCLA shouldn't come as they shouldn't be in shock and awe when they walk on the court. They've already beat the number 1 team in the tournament. So it's right there for the taking. Another national title is right there in front of us, Harbin. So we'll see how those 2 teams do, and we'll keep track of it next time we're on and let you guys know. Moving on, Lady Vols softball. They won since we recorded last, they won the SEC championship and were the 1 seed in the SEC tournament, and they end up getting beat in the first round. So it's kind of like basketball. They lost to LSU first game 2-1, and they go home. But that's, am I wrong, Harbin, and not like I just honestly don't care that much anymore about the SEC tournament in any sport. I mean, I do. I mean, you get what I'm saying? I do care, but I honestly I saw that we lost and I was like, oh well. That's not the ultimate goal that I want.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, I do, because I want all the gold, you know, but it's more apparent in basketball than any other sport. The NCAA has made it apparent that conference tournament really don't matter. It does in football, just because if you win the SEC, that makes you legit. Like that's pretty much an automatic bid to a national championship opportunity, at least with playoff. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, they really don't matter. I know that's a growing debate over the last few years, but for sake of argument, yeah, I care about them because I would like to win it because in the majority of sports, the SEC is premier.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you win the SEC, it's like winning a national title, to be honest. In a lot of sports, because it's, the best conference in the land. So that's the only reason that I semi care about it. But in the grand scheme of things, the Lady Vols were still the number 3 seed. Was winning that thing going to move them up? Maybe the 2 seed, but I couldn't see them going as the 1 seed. I'm trying to pull their bracket up. They are the 3 seed. They will host in Knoxville this coming weekend. And they will host Dayton, Virginia, and Miami, Ohio. Dayton is 33-19, Virginia 32-18, and Miami of Ohio is 48-7. Let's see. Game 1, Tennessee will play Dayton in the first game on Friday. Miami, Ohio versus Virginia after that. So if Tennessee defeats Dayton, they'll move on to face the winner of Miami, Ohio, Virginia, and it's on from there. So looks like games will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium. So Lady Vols bring home another SEC title to Knoxville. The growing trophy case at UT continues to grow. So that was good to see. They swept the Wildcats to claim the title that weekend. Back to the mines. I had several tweets about going back to the mines. So, moving on to baseball, Harbin. They continue to win every series they play. Since we recorded last, this past weekend they took down Vandy 2 out of 3 at Vanderbilt. Won Friday, Saturday, lost Sunday. Christian Moore continues to carry this team offensively, hitting more home runs, getting me free Dr. Peppers at Waggles through the Waggles app. If you don't take advantage of that, do it. Pretty cool deal they got. If Carlin Pickens for the Lady Vol strikes out 6, you get a free Coke the next day. Or if Christian Moore hits a home run, you get a free Coke the next day. Coke product. So the baseball team, let me pull their info up here. They got one series left this upcoming weekend against the Cox. South Carolina's coming to town. South Carolina's a pretty good ball team. They last I looked, they were ranked 13th in the country. So South Carolina's always a tough opponent coming in here to Lindsey Nelson Stadium, but it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. With the way the game shook out this weekend, Tennessee's still a game back of Kentucky in the East. They briefly tied them this weekend, but Kentucky took 2 out of 3 from Florida, as well as Tennessee taking 2 out of 3 from Vanderbilt. So it looks like Tennessee is going to be probably one of the top 4 seeds in the NCAA tournament, Harbin. So that means we'll host a regional, and if we win, we'll host a super regional here in Knoxville. Since we recorded last, Tennessee's ranked number 1. I don't know if you've noticed the vibe around that number 1 ranking. Remember 2 years ago when Tennessee was number 1 for pretty much the majority of the season, how exciting it was and how pumped everybody was. This time it felt a lot different. It's like, okay, we're number 1. Let's keep playing. It's just the change in culture here with this baseball program right now.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll also remember how that season ended.
Ugh, don't remind me. I was there.
I mean, that's kind of why. Which this baseball team has been that good for the last what 4 years, 4 years. Um, we know the team is good as a majority in East Tennessee. We know this team is good. We want to see it translate into more success than we've seen come summertime. Um, which being one's cool, you know. I mean, considering where this program was 6, 7 years ago, I mean, it's nobody would have thought this is where the program would be now. Um, but if you're that good all year, I mean, it's got to translate into more than winning a game or two in Omaha. I mean, and when you're that good, I mean, you just assume you're going to win your super regional too.
Yeah.
That was the frustration from 2 years ago. Um, obviously, this team's number 1 in the country. Obviously, they are good enough to win it all. It's just a matter if they will. And if you have any critique of Tony Vitello and his time on Knoxville, it is postseason play. Let's just be honest. I love Tony V. I wouldn't trade him for anybody. But if you're going to be this good, it's going to have to show when it matters at some point, you know. I think this team, out of the major teams on campus, have the best chance to win the national championship the soonest. And I don't think that's a wild take. I think that's a pretty conservative take. But I want to see this year be the year they make the deep run. I don't think it's national championship or bust, but I'd like to at least play for one. Like I really do. At least make it to the Final Four. I would love to actually play for it, but you got to at least advance in Omaha. That's my opinion.
Yeah, they getting to Omaha and especially losing that first game, that really puts you back in a corner right out of the gate. So if they get there this year, they need to really come out. They need to win a game or two right out of the gate. And you're really sitting in the catbird seat if you do that. But probably another conversation for another time. But you're right. This team, the expectations are now at the least. It's like basketball. My expectations are at least Sweet 16, Elite 8 every year. And with baseball now, the expectations is College World Series in Omaha. And same with softball. They should be in Oklahoma City every year with the talent they bring in and the program they've built. They should at least be one of the final 8 in Oklahoma City every year. Same with Tony Vitello in baseball. You brought it up about Tony V and how I don't want to say they've choked or anything. That 2022 team choked. That losing that series to Notre Dame was a choke job. But when you look at it, he's been to 2 College World Series already in his time here, which is above and beyond the expectations I think we had. They're eyeing a 3rd College World Series in 4 years if they can pull it off this year, which is unprecedented in this program's history. But you're like right there on the cusp, and they're just leaving a little bit to be desired. And that is the knock I have is not really with Tony V that much. It's with, and we won't hear that as much anymore since Barnes got Tennessee to the Elite Eight. But Tennessee fans, were all over Rick Barnes about not getting further in the NCAA tournament. And there was probably some justified comments toward that. Not really, but maybe some. But there's not that much angst or comments about Tony V and the Tennessee baseball team not advancing any further than they do. And I know they've run into some tough opponents, but it's the same thing in basketball. They run into some tough teams, tough programs, tough coaches. I ran into Paul Skeens last year. You were going to have to face that guy at some point again. So you can't say that, we didn't advance because we played him. They're going to have to play that team at some point in Omaha. But I think the next step for this program is to get to Omaha and win more than one game. I mean, they didn't win any the first time they went, and then last year they actually won some, so or won one. But yeah, they need to advance further. I think it would. I mean, just for this program, with as good as it's been the last 4 or 5 years, to at least get to that national championship series. I mean, how big would that be for this program? It would definitely show like this program, it is legit, but it would show everybody it is truly legit. But
Yeah, I
that's what
agree.
they got. That's what they got facing them coming up. They got South Carolina to finish the season, the SEC tournament, which I'm not going to fret if we bounce early like we did last year. Who cares? It would be nice to win that thing again, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter if you win it or not. So, um, got to the intensity is going to pick up here in the next couple weeks if it hasn't already.
Which I will say there's always a rest versus rust debate in sports. Um, I feel like baseball is the one sport where you don't want a week off. Especially this late in the season. Like these guys are in a rhythm. They're used to playing this many games. So for that reason, I wouldn't want us to get knocked out early in the SEC tournament outside the obvious reason of just wanting to win every game you play. Um, but in basketball, in a weird way, I think it benefited us. Get your legs underneath you a little bit more. We know in football how critical a bye week is. Um, but in baseball, I think in baseball it's a little different. Um, I think you want to get in that rhythm of playing like every weekend and then having kind of like I don't want to say warm up game because we lost one a couple weeks ago, but one of those type games midweek. Yeah, I would like for us to play as many games as we can just to just stay loose, for lack of a better term.
The only thing that concerns me about Tennessee in the SEC tournament setting is their pitching. I don't know. Maybe they get AJ Russell back here. I think he's projected to come back here in the next week or so to help him out. But when you get in a tournament setting like the SEC tournament, where it's not a super regional or regional type bracket, it's more of your traditional bracket where you drop down to the losers bracket after a certain point, and then you got to fight your way out of that. And where the super regional and the regional is more of a series type, but not as many games potentially. But um, that's the only thing that bothers me, the pitching. The depth. I don't know that they've got the depth to win a tournament like the SEC tournament. I think they've got the depth to get to Omaha, but then when they get to Omaha, that's where the depth comes back into question because it's more of your traditional double elimination tournament. But need to take care of business against South Carolina. At least take 2 out of 3 in that series. I was looking at the SEC standings just a second ago. Harbin Tennessee's still a game out of first in the East behind Kentucky. They're 20-7. Tennessee's 19-8. Nobody really behind them that's threatening Tennessee at this point. South Carolina coming to town this weekend, they're 13-13 in the conference, 33-17 overall. And on the road, South Carolina is 9-7. And at home, Tennessee is 31-3. So numbers aren't playing in the Gamecocks' favor there. Over in the West Division, you got Arkansas at 19-8, Texas A&M at 17-10, and you got Mississippi State, Alabama, Ole Miss, LSU, and Auburn dragging up the field. So big weekend in Knoxville for the Vols. They'll wrap up the regular season this week. They got Belmont midweek, and then the Gamecocks Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So we'll see how the Vols finish out there. So any thoughts on baseball, softball as we get near the postseason?
Just like to see us make more of a run than we have previous years with the talent we have. Nothing new, really. You know, it's cool being really good all year, but it's a lot cooler being good at the end. You know,
I'm just excited where our athletics department is right now. I want to win titles just like everybody else. Don't mistake that in what I'm saying. I want to win SEC titles. I want to win national titles. But where this athletics department is now compared to where it was for the last, 10, 12 years, it's just exciting to have winning programs on campus right now. Baseball, softball, men's basketball, football, men's and women's tennis, golf. I think swimming is fairly competitive still. So there's just a lot to be excited about in Knoxville. And there's some people that, I think they like winning, but they're like, well, we're never going to win it. We're just never going to win it. And I can't have that attitude. Like, I'm going into this season, this postseason right now thinking Lady Ball should get to Omaha and have a legit shot to win, or Oklahoma City. Baseball team should get to Omaha. They got a legit chance to win the national title there. Men's and women's tennis, I think now they got a legit shot to win the national title if they get there. So that's my mindset. And I'm assuming that's it's the players and coaches and administration's mindset, I hope. But it is exciting times on Rocky Top. And I don't know if we announced it on here, but you are a proud season ticket holder now for the football team.
correct. Correct. Thanks to you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm normally there every Saturday when they're playing, but now it's official. So
Now you'll officially be there.
now I won't have to hunt and overpay or sweat it out and get a handout. You know what I'm saying?
That.
So,
Yeah, it's you got some good seats too. I helped Harb as a season ticket holder. They had an opportunity to purchase additional tickets, so I got Harb hooked up. He is in the north end zone on the good side. Pretty good seats. Kind of like YY8 seats, except you're a little further to the left. What is it? XX2 or something like that? X
uh,
No,
ZZ,
double Z11.
I'm ZZ11. I'm just upstairs from you, actually.
So if anything flies and hits me on the head, then it's probably from you.
Just know I've got good aim.
But you'll be able to see me from where you're at. So
Well, it'd be hard not to see that head.
I heard that. Yeah, football coming up here soon, Harb. I haven't read much about it. I'm waiting until the summer months hit to really dive into that, and we'll have a preview show about that. But
Did
I was,
speaking of football, did Elijah Herring ever announce where he's going?
yeah, he's going out west, Harbin. He's going to Memphis State.
Oh, okay. There was rumors he was going to go to Colorado, and I was like, well, if you want to do that, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it came out Friday that he is going to Memphis State University.
Is he from there?
I honestly don't know.
I want to say he is, but I'm not too confident in that. This is where we need Day Day.
Yeah, where's Day when you need him? He's an encyclopedia of where these players are from, their star rankings.
Last time,
Coaches.
last time I saw Day Day, he was on a milk carton.
He was on there with Gavin. They like split the side.
Yeah, yeah. They had separate rewards if you found one of them, but they had a grand total, kind of like 2 for 1 price if you found them both at the same time.
I did talk to Gavin a while back, and he did assure me that he does want to come on the show at some point again as a special guest. So I'm trying to work that out with him. We'll probably do it more toward football season. He's checked out from Tennessee athletics right now. So since basketball's over, he's on a break till football fires back up.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. So let's move on to the hater and losers of the week segment. Harbin, you got one?
I do. Um, there's a lot of great candidates over the last couple of weeks. There always are. There's millions and millions of haters and losers each week. But the one that stands out to me, in my opinion, is Drake. Drake, the rapper, the recording artist, um, the pedophile, whatever you want to call him. He's our loser in the rate of the week.
I didn't know
Am I?
is Drake like everybody else in Hollywood? Is he a pedophile?
Yeah. I'm not going to say 100% of Hollywood is, but the vast majority is. So if you don't keep up with rap music or quite literally just haven't been paying attention to anything in the last week, keep a long story short, rap is back. There was a rap beef, and it was actually worth listening to. It was between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Um, and essentially, Drake pissed off Kendrick, and Kendrick went for the throat, exposed him for being pretty much a groomer, pedophile, um, amongst other things. He came with receipts. There was multiple pictures, which this was public knowledge, but this was stuff that was used. Kylie Jenner's 16th birthday party. Drake was kissing on her neck when he was like 28 years old or 30,
Nice.
whatever he was.
Nice.
Um, which this was public knowledge a few years ago. Millie Bobby Brown, the chick that was on Stranger Things, she openly came out and said that he was texting her when the show got popular when she was like 15, 16 years old. While she was underage, she said that there wasn't anything going on, but she may have not thought that. There's an instance where he took out a model that was a fresh 18, but the girl said that they'd been in contact for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Drake's the biggest artist of this generation for sure. But hell, R. Kelly was a big artist too. So was Diddy. Um,
Now,
we
where is
learned.
Diddy? Diddy's vanished.
Yeah, I have no idea. It's just funny. Kendrick just dropped a lot of truth bombs. It was really cool to see. And then Drake's response pretty much was like, you just want attention. Numbers wise, you ain't touching me. That was an exact quote. The funny thing is, Kendrick's last diss track that he dropped broke the record for the most streams of a rap song in one day ever. So, and he broke Taylor Swift's record, which that's a big thing nowadays, of most streamed song in one day of 2024. And now, To Pimp a Butterfly is one of Kendrick's albums that came out 9 years ago. It is now getting more plays daily this past week than Drake's recent album. So numbers wise, yes, he is. Fun fact about that album, because a lot of people, or not a lot of people, just the people that are blindly supporting Drake, which is wild to me, with all these accusations that he's not denying. To Pimp a Butterfly, that album got nominated for the second most Grammys of all time. Thriller was nominated for 12 Grammys. To Pimp a Butterfly was nominated for 11. So, um, for the people that aren't blindly supporting Drake, which I'm probably boring most of the people with this, Kendrick won. He's going to go back in his hole that he was in for 3 or 4 years. He just kind of hangs out, does his thing. Drake's more of the spotlight guy. But yeah, he got exposed. And to be honest with you, it's a good thing to see. I like when big Hollywood celebrities get exposed for their nasty doings, and they can't just hide behind how many people listen to their music. Um, yeah, I mean, if it can happen, I mean, hell, it happened to Michael Jackson. That gets swept under the rug just because he's so great. But if it can happen to those caliber people, it can happen to anybody. So, and one of his responses was, "If I was sleeping with underage people, I'm famous enough to where I'd be arrested already," and that's just incorrect.
What?
What? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, my hater and loser of the week is Drake. In my opinion, hadn't put out a good album in like 6 years. So yeah, it's just good to see uh, big Hollywood get taken down little by little. It's fun. Hopefully, actually, something comes out of this.
All right. Well, I did not know all that. So you educated me on all this. I'd seen bits and pieces of it, but I didn't know what all that was about. My hater and loser of the week is Vanderbilt fans who took to Twitter this afternoon on Sunday after they after Vanderbilt they beat Tennessee to salvage the third game of the series. Vandy, for those that didn't know, coming into this weekend, had lost 5 SEC games in a row, so they'd lost 7 in a row coming into Sunday. Um, they're kind of on the bubble to even get in the tournament, so they needed to beat Tennessee today on Sunday, and they did. But Vandy fans took to Twitter wanting to know where are the Tennessee fans at? Why are they so quiet today? I guess Vandy fans forgot that that also broke a 9-game winning streak that Tennessee had against Vanderbilt. So Vandy is now 1-9 their last 10 games against Tennessee in baseball. The only sport they're good at, the only sport Vandy's good at, they can't even beat us in that anymore. But they took to Twitter this afternoon to run their mouths, and I was disappointed in Tennessee fans or Vol Twitter, whatever you want to call it, for obliging them. Like, they're beneath us. Vanderbilt is beneath us more than Kentucky is beneath us. Like, they're not even worthy of us responding to them, interacting with them, even acknowledging them. They're beneath us. So my haters and losers of the week are Vanderbilt Commodore fans, all 5 of them on Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it. So that's my
And
hater
all
and losers of the week.
27 of them in real life.
I mean, did you see any of the games this weekend at Vandy on
I
TV?
watched them. I watched the majority of the game on Friday, and I caught a little bit of the game yesterday. I didn't watch any of the game today.
I would say, just by judging it from the television, that 70, and it's a small stadium, kind of like Lindsey Nelson a little bit, maybe smaller. Hawkins Field, I think is what it's called. Um, but it was 75% orange. Like, Vandy fans apparently just sold all their tickets to Tennessee fans. So some of the Vandy fans on I guess social media and some chat rooms, message boards were very upset at their fellow Vandy fans for selling tickets to Tennessee fans this weekend. But I'm sure they probably made some decent money off of it from the prices I saw online for some of the tickets. So, um, but it's a typical Tennessee Vanderbilt game. There's always more orange in the stands than there is black and gold. So, too bad. Vandy still sucks. They always will. Nothing will ever change. Too bad.
It is what it is.
That is a fact. It is what it is. And sooner they come to grips in reality, as soon as they come to terms with that, the better their life will be. But they won't. the 100 fans that they have. Real quick shout out. By the time this episode gets out, they would have already played a game. But shout out to the Lady Hornets softball team. They won a district title last Thursday night, I believe it was. So they're in the region play this week. I'm not announcing these games. I'm actually just sitting back and watching. So shout out to those ladies. They don't listen to the show, and I wouldn't expect them to, but shout out to them. Shout out to the Hornets. Nice to bring home some hardware to Strawberry Plains. All right, Harbin, you got anything before we check out tonight?
Oh man, just shout out to my mother, my grandmothers, my aunts, my cousin that has some kids, and ladies that are mothers of my friends' children. Y'all are great. We appreciate what you do. Hope you had a great weekend with the family. You do not go unnoticed. You're great. So we appreciate y'all. Happy Mother's Day to each of you.
I concur. Happy Mother's Day again to my mama and my grandmother, my Mimi, who's down in Louisiana, living her best life right now. 92 years old, still sharp as a tack. So she's having fun in the bayou, Harbin. It's the place she lives in is awesome, to be honest. I kind of wouldn't mind living at a place like that. You get 3 meals a day in your own apartment. So what I mean, what else could you ask for?
Draining the Pontchartrain one day at a
I
time.
heard that. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody listening. Numbers plummeted for our last episode, but hopefully y'all are back for this episode. But remember, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast. The most frequent place people listen are Apple Podcast or Spotify. Also, be sure to go on our YouTube channel, like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star rating on any of our podcast channels, but especially go to YouTube, like and subscribe over there. And we'll be back next week. Hopefully, we'll be back next week, and we'll have a preview for the SEC baseball tournament. We'll see where the Vols land in that. We'll see where the Lady Vols, how they do in their regional here in Knoxville this weekend. Hopefully, by the time we record next, they'll be advancing to the super regional here in Knoxville. So, Harb, good to see you as always. We'll get that golf game sharpened for the trip here in a couple weeks. We'll preview that next time we're on here, maybe. But for Harb, I'm Negative Niece. We'll see you guys next week on the Section YY8 podcast.